Rahul Gandhi in the UK saw him address different stakeholders. He began with addressing students at Cambridge University, where he is now a visiting fellow at the Judge Business School. Then he met a journalist organization here in the United Kingdom, the Indian Journalist Association, and he took several questions from members of the press, both the Indian contingent that is based here and the British media as well. He then attended an event where the diaspora here gathered in large numbers. Over 1,000 people were present in this venue at West London, and saw Rahul Gandhi address them on what is it that makes an Indian living here contribute to his country as well. And today here in Parliament, Rahul Gandhi met members of the British Parliament and exchanged his views and opinions on the state of democracy in the world, and gave some insights into his experiences of the Bharat Jodo Yatra.
In my view, as I said, India needs to focus a lot more on the production and jobs. If you listen to our economic discourse, it's, we grew at 9%, we grew at 8%, we grew at 7%. It's never how many jobs did you create. Right? And you can grow at 9% and create very few jobs. You can also grow at 9% and create millions of jobs. So I think the narrative in India has to change to fairness and growth with employment, growth with production and employment. And I think you here have a role in helping us do that and in participating in that production. You have high technology here. You are at the cutting edge of many industries, and so there is a synergy between our two countries. But in my view, it's very, very important that India, that the penny drops in India, that we cannot leave millions and millions of our population unemployed. It's not sustainable. So I think that's one space where a lot of work can be done together.
What was the purpose of inviting Rahul Gandhi to the Parliament?
The purpose is to sharing and exchanging the views between Indian parliamentarians and the British parliamentarians. He is a member of Parliament in India, a lead member of the Congress Party, and with a long established practice. We invite the people to come here, share their views with us, share their views for the future of those two countries, exchanging the values and making sure that whenever that party comes in power, and if they are in government, then what vision they have for the future. That was the main reason of inviting Mr. Rahul Gandhi to the Parliament and exchanging those values together.
And yesterday there was a huge diaspora event. Thousands of people that came, people had to be turned away. What was your takeaway from that event? What were people telling you about that?
That shows that diaspora is keen to see the developments in India. They wanted to hear from those leaders who have the possibilities and the potential to rule India back, take control of the politics of the country, and that's why they wanted to come and hear him yesterday in Heston.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about this trip. You've been with Rahul Gandhi as he met different people in London. What was the response?
This time the response is huge. Like, I was with him organizing his trip to UK last in 2018. Now after Bharat Jodo Yatra, the youth, a lot of Indian students working here, studying, their youth is connecting now. Indian diaspora anyway from across the states, they're here. Yesterday the meeting with the Indian diaspora is huge success. So we've seen about 1,500 people coming here. There's huge request for him to have one-on-one interviews, and they want to meet. And that is the difference I can see after the Bharat Jodo Yatra. The entire image has been changed. people are seeing through what Mr. Gandhi is, what he stands for, what is his alternative vision for India.
And he's been constantly talking about the democratic structures in India being captured by the government, and he's saying this is where people have to wake up and do something about it. How do you think the Indians that live in the UK can respond to that?
Well, as a former NRI, lived in US and went back, and I could see same my Indian origin people in UK. Why we proud of this country living in UK or US and other countries? Because of the democratic values, the freedom of speech and work and do whatever you want to do, whichever religion you believe in and practice, that the freedom which core democratic values gives. So India being a largest democracy, that core values of democracy, suppression of freedom of expression is being curtailed now in India. So this is what he is educating across the people, the Indian origin people across the countries. The core values, what India is and be proud of, that is being suppressed now. So you could see the response from among UK Indian diaspora and UK, lot of Indian NRIs here, see that they are seeing that the fear among Indians which has been imposed in India, so which they want to oppose it, and what they believe and proud of living in this country, they want to bring back those core Indian values back home. That's where they are working on, and we are trying to connect this Indian.
And today he did raise these very same issues right here at the UK Parliament in the House of Commons, where several MPs also got into the discussion with us. How do you think this kind of conversations between India and UK could help build a stronger democracy for the entire world?
Well, which is very important. Now, to see the Indian origin person is leading the UK. So that is the difference which you could see. That is only happened because of over a period of 75 years Indian democracy, which has been strengthened. Our forefathers, which built, not only brought freedom to the country, but the constitution which written by the B.R. Ambedkar ji and Pandit Nehru ji, the Mahatma Gandhi's values have been embedded in our constitution. So they're seeing that core values have been suppressed. And here, UK Parliamentary members, I could see that huge response now compared to before. I was Indo-Europe Parliamentary full chairman, in the UK Parliamentary full chairman. I've been visited in UK Parliament before, but I could see that the difference now, they're cutting across not only Indian origin parliamentarians, but even the British parliamentarians is coming and listening to him, and they want to have a conversation with him. That's the difference I could see now.
Thanks, Brahman, and thanks, Mr. Gandhi, for joining us today. And
At Chatham House, Rahul Gandhi stressed on the need for political change.
I think fundamental to a successful India is the decentralization of power. So what is happening, what you see, the trend you see is massive concentration of wealth and power. Right? And that, if you really look at the BJP and see what's the one big thing that they've done, it's huge concentration of power in the Prime Minister's office, and then huge concentration of wealth in the hands of 2 or 3 people. Right? And that, to me, a country the size of India simply cannot be run like that.
My name is Malini Mehra, and I run an international parliamentary organization that works on climate change. But my question is raised to you as a citizen of India. There are many of us in the international diaspora. There are something more than 20 million Indians in the international diaspora. You spoke about the need for India to address these issues by itself, not within its own borders, because you have the international diaspora. And many people like myself no longer...
Sorry, which issues? The environmental issues?
No, the issues facing India, the democratic despair that the country is in. So here is my question, and I ask it as someone who is one of possibly millions who no longer recognizes the country that they were born and raised in. And we would like to know what your message is.
Is that a bad thing or a good thing?
What do you think?
No, I'm asking you.
Why am I here?
I don't know.
I'm here because I am feeling wretched about the state of my country.
Yeah.
Absolutely wretched. My father was an RSS man, proudly so. He would not recognize the country, bless his soul. So for those of us who are outside of India, how can we engage? How can we re-empower our democracy? 20 years ago, I worked with Professor Amartya Sen. And Amartya didn't let go of his passport. I'm not getting rid of my passport, and I want to know what can we do to reanimate our democratic institutions.
Well, I like your energy. No, it's very important. It's very important. And it goes to the point of the resistance. You see, the resistance is sitting here. No, I meant that the battle for the democratic institutions of India is frankly India's responsibility and no one else's, right? And it's something that we are doing. But you, of course, are Indian, so it's your responsibility as well, and you're part of that discussion. I think when you express yourself, I think what you said about your father being in the RSS and about him not recognizing our country in this conversation itself is a very powerful thing. Because for me to say it, people might feel, he's fighting the RSS, he's fighting the BJP, he might be biased, right? But for you to say it, it has a totally different impact. So you're by expressing yourself and by making your position clear, you're already helping in a big way, right? I think by telling people the values that you stand for, the values that are Indian and that you protect, by telling everybody in the rest of the world that India needs to go back to those values, you're doing the service.
So Rahul Gandhi has repeatedly spoken about the issue of unemployment being one of the fundamental issues today in India that needs to be looked into and found a solution for. It's very important for young people in India to think about this. What are your views on the issue of unemployment in India, and how can the Congress party help?
The thing is, with regards to unemployment, more than that, I see the idea of India is being under threat, and that reflects on the unemployment, I feel, because of neoliberal world order where we live in, and because of crony capitalism and what Modi has been doing with group of Adani companies or Ambani companies. So these sort of things will limit people from pursuing. They make all tall promises, which the populist government obviously does, but the thing is on the ground level it's not implicating, and they are being distracted by the other idea of a nation, which is kind of right-wing Hindutva, and sort of they use the mythical narratives, sort of they invoke all the religious issues in order to divert from the real issue, which is unemployment, price rise, and all sort of things.
So that's been used as a diversion to take away from important issues. How will the Congress change anything?
And the thing is the starting was Bharat Jodo, which obviously I was thinking it will be the same other Congress event which they used to do, but then I saw this Bharat Jodo has mobilized common people organically from Kanyakumari till Kashmir, sort of brought up and positive feedback in terms of what Congress has been doing in this last couple of months actually, and I believe that they need to use this as an opportunity to take it back through the Haath Se Jodo, the march which they are planning to do. They need to have a door-to-door campaign with the strong booth level committees, and
so reach out to the people.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
Last week, in a lecture at the University of Cambridge, Rahul Gandhi said, democracy in India is under threat.
That picture's taken in front of Parliament House, and that's where a whole bunch of opposition members of Parliament were just standing there talking about certain issues, and we were just locked up and put in jail. And that's happened 3 or 4 times, right? And it's happened relatively violently. That's just an example. And you've also heard of the attack on minorities, the attack on the press. So you get a sense of what is going on. Now, the one way I like to think about it is that Indian democracy is a public good, okay? Because it is by far the biggest democracy. At least 50% of people who live in a democratic space live in India. And so preserving and defending Indian democracy is more than just about India. It's actually about defending the democratic structure and the democratic system on the planet.
During an interaction with the Indian Journalists Association in London, Rahul Gandhi was asked to comment on the controversial ban on the BBC documentary on India. His response was that there is a suppression of voice across India and that the BBC is only just getting a taste of it. But the journalists in India are constantly being intimidated and threatened if they write against the government, and those towing the line often get rewarded.
You asked why we did the Yatra, what was the idea behind the Yatra? The idea behind the Yatra was an expression of voice, right? And there is suppression of voice across the country. Suppression of voice, example is the BBC, but BBC is just one element of it, right? You found out, well, the BBC has found out about it now, but it's been going on in India for the last 9 years, right? Non-stop. Everybody knows that journalists are intimidated, they're attacked, they're threatened, and the journalists who toe the line of the government are rewarded. Right? So it's a part of a pattern, and I wouldn't expect anything different. But if the BBC stops writing against the government, everything will go back to normal. All the cases will disappear, everything will go back to normal. Right? So this is the new idea of India. The BJP wants India to be silent, right? And they want it to be quiet. They want the Dalits, the lower caste, the Adivasis, the media, they want silence. And they want silence because they want to be able to take what is India's and give it to their close friends. So that's basically the idea, right? Distract the population and then hand over India's wealth to 3, 4, 5 people. I mean, we've seen this before also.
Rahul Gandhi took a barrage of questions from the press representatives of both Indian and British media. He spoke on domestic politics and foreign policy. But one question that seems to be resonating in the media in India in particular was about Rahul Gandhi often being accused of defaming India on foreign soil. To which this was his response.
There's nothing defaming India in my Cambridge lecture. Last I recall, the Prime Minister going abroad and announcing that there's been nothing done in 60 years of independence, 70 years of independence. I remember him saying that, there's a lost decade of 10 years, there's unlimited corruption in India. I remember him saying them abroad. These were not things he said in India, these were things he said abroad, right? So, I have never defamed my country. I'm not interested in it. I will never do it. Of course, the BJP like to twist what I say. That's fine, and the media likes to sort of play it up. I mean, it gives you TRPs and all. But the fact of the matter is, the person who defames India when he goes abroad is the Prime Minister of India.
I remain very concerned about what is happening in India. I remain very concerned because I sincerely believe that the democracy is being attacked. Institutions are captured. Civil society is not allowed to function. And scientific, logical, rational mindset is eroding.
During his visit, Gandhi encouraged Indians in the UK to be a catalyst for change.
Throughout this walk, people of all religions came, all castes came, all languages came. But there was no anger, no hatred, no violence, no disrespect. And so the Yatra was demonstrating to the whole country what the real India is about. So this is a fight between courage and cowardice. It's a fight between respect and disrespect. It's a fight between love and hatred. जो मैंने कहा था भारत छोड़ो यात्रा में, नफरत के बाजार में हम मोहब्बत की दुकान खोलने आए हैं.
In London, Ruhi Khan for Mojo Story.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.